Okay, you guys, this is 9.4. We're learning our next conic, and it's called an ellipse. Today, obviously, we're going to start with just at the origin. So let me show you what a picture of an ellipse looks like and get you guys the vocabulary. And then same thing as we did for your parabola and all that other stuff, like give you a couple of scenarios. So here is what an ellipse looks like. And the characteristics, I should say, about it. Okay, so an ellipse is like an oval. And it's a terrible oval. Obviously, your oval can go horizontally or vertically. But for right now, we're just going to deal with this. And let me show you now the most important characteristics of an ellipse. Okay, so the first characteristics that you have here is the center, right? So, center. Okay, so I'll write out what center means in a moment. But we have the center, and then what we have here is along the longer way. Think the longer way. Obviously, this is the longer way. It makes sense. That's what I mean, longer. This is the shorter way from here to here. Along the longer way, these 2 points, they are the vertex. So this is a vertex and this is a vertex, and that's going to actually distinguish something. And again, they're along the x-axis, the longer way. And then what we have up here, the top and the bottom, the shorter way, they're the covertex, or covertices. Think, co means helpful, worker, working together. These are your vertex, these are the covertex, the shorter one. And again, I'm going to go over this in a moment. We're just going to put all the vocabulary in. And then the other thing that you have, just like we had for the parabola, you had the vertex, and then you had a focus and a directrix. We don't have a directrix here, but we have a focus. And if you think the focus was with the vertex, so it's going to be with the vertex. Oops. The vertex is the most important. So you have a focus here, and you have a focus there. Okay, those are the main characteristics, and I'm going to go through something, so just bear with it, but those are the things that we're going to be finding. We're going to be finding a center. We're going to be finding, because I want to talk about the key characteristics, the vertex, the covertices, and our foci, focus for singular. So let's write some things. Center. The center, because we're going to have to find that sometimes, is the midpoint of everything. It's the midpoint between your vertices. What's an I? It's the midpoint between the covertices. It's the midpoint between the foci. So it's the midpoint between every one of them. So obviously you can figure out however you want. We will review how to find midpoint eventually, so bear with. Actually, I'll just write it right here. To find the midpoint of something, you're just going to take the x's, you're going to average it, and divide it by 2. Think the middle of something, like your average. So that's what we have to make sure we understand. As always, I'm going to highlight the most important things. And today is just a bunch of vocabulary because you have to be introduced to it. Okay, so first thing I want to talk about. We have the major axis. Now this should make sense. The major axis is the longer, you could say your longer line, your longer axis. And in this case, you obviously see it's your x. And again, that's going to help us with something. But the longer one is going to be the vertices. So the vertices are going to take along the longer, which is your major axis, while we have obviously our minor axis is going to be the shorter line, the shorter the distance from the center, the shorter line or axis, and that's going to be our covertices or covertice. We're going to put plural. I'm not sure if it's plural, but for now it's going to be plural. Okay, because again, these are the characteristics that you're going to have to find based on your ellipse. Now, star, your focus, or foci, because it's plural, is always along where? The major, so it's always along with the vertices. Along major, so that means it's always with the vertices. not the co-vertices. And we're gonna have to find that and yada yada. You'll see how it's gonna work. All right, and then, oops, zoomed out a little too much. Okay, so here is very, very important. Let's grab another color. Got new markers. All right, so you have distances. So very important. You have this A value, okay? Because it's gonna be in our formula that you're gonna see me write down here. A value is your distance from, everything starts from the center, and that's definitely a mistake a lot of kids make, so please make sure you understand everything is starting from the center out. So it's the center to, now think, A, the most important thing, what we're starting at, what's the longer thing? The vertex. So it's the distance from A, oops, we got the center, to a vertex, because obviously it does not matter. The distance from here to here is the same as here to here. So that's our A value. I'm gonna put it in the picture. So from here to here, the distance is A, and we all know it's, again, the absolute value, okay? Let's do another color. Apparently I don't have as many colors as I thought. So now the B value. Well, obviously after your vertex, we need our co-vertex. So B is going to be the distance from, here we go again, your center, so jot these notes down, to a co-vertex. I don't care which one, because obviously they're gonna be the same. So let's say from here to here, this distance, again, absolute value, is B, okay? And then our last one is C. C is going to be distance from, again, center to focus. So this is our C. Again, absolute value. So those are the most important things, if you guys can get that visual in your head, that we need for this. Again, you need to talk about, and then I'm gonna start showing you something. The most important things, you have vertices, co-vertices, center, foci, because those are the things we're gonna have to find. Try to remember A starts it, it goes with the vertex, B, co-vertex, C, focus, and again, I'm telling you everything starts from the center, okay? All right, so let's take a look at some of the standard forms of what this looks like before we do an example. All right, so first, okay, so try to get comfortable. Standard form, ellipse at the origin. So again, obviously it's an intro today, so everything is gonna be at your origin. All right, so we have two different scenarios, right? You're either along or you're going vertically or you're going horizontally. So let's talk about the one that we just did up there. So let's do this and let's draw it horizontally, which is terrible, but it works. Okay, so let's just talk about something. We all know that this point right here is, I'm gonna put C for center. Okay, so C is center. Then if it's long, these 2 points, V for vertices. So again, just so you guys are aware, C, center, because I'm not writing it all out, V, vertices. And then up here, I'm gonna put CV, CV, co-vertice. And then F obviously is our foci. Where is the F? The F is along the vertices, so we're gonna just put it focus, focus, okay? Now, remember the distance from the center to the vertex is starting it. This is A distance, and the distance from C, center to co-vertice, is our B, remember. Okay, because now watch how this starts. So if we were to write an equation, what you're gonna end up doing is to write the equation for an ellipse. You're gonna start always with x squared. So right away, I want you guys to write x squared plus y squared and then equals 1. Always start like that for now at the origin. So when it is at the origin, write it like this every single time. That'll help you like thinking out. That's like a circle because it's almost like a circle. Now, if you think about this, we have to have values under here because the distance from them are not the same like in a circle. So what's going to happen first is whoever the longer, I should say, sorry, whoever is longer is going to go under the first value. So x squared, who's longer? Is it the A or the B? A is longer here, correct? The distance from the A, and you're gonna understand this in a moment. So A squared is gonna go here, and then what's gonna go here is going to be your B squared value. Okay, so try to remember the longer one's gonna go first. Now let's take a look at what the other way would look. So let's go like this. Okay, and let's do the same thing. Center, so now these are our vertices, right? That's the longer. Co-vertice, co-vertice, and that means your focus or your foci are going there because again, everything has to follow that. So one more time, how do you start an ellipse? You're gonna go x squared plus y squared equals 1. However, there's a couple ways you can think about this. What's gonna go underneath? Who is larger? Who is the longer way? Did I mess that up? Nope. I said that wrong. Delete what I said. What's a long, so it messes up, sorry, between ellipse and hyperbola. So come back here. Who's ever along the, because x squared is always starting it. X squared is always starting it. Who's along the x-axis? The V, vertex, which is your A starts it. Okay, so x squared. Here is my x squared. Correct? I'm sorry, here is the x-axis. Sorry. Here is your x-axis. Who's along it? The co-vertice, which is our B, right? And this is our A. So that means B squared, the length, which we're gonna figure out, starts it, and then A squared. Okay, so let me go through that quickly one more time. So it's always x squared, y squared equals 1. Make note of that. Put a little star. An ellipse must equal 1. Put that down first. Always equals 1. That's your first thing. Then the next thing, just to reiterate or to correct from before, always the co-vertice or the vertice, whichever is along the x-axis, that distance is going to go here. So in this case, since it's my vertice, and the center to the vertice is the A squared goes here. Okay, coming over here, what's along the x-axis? The center to the co-vertice, which is our B value, so B squared goes there. Hopefully that cleared it up. I apologize. You'll see from your examples. Then put a little star here. I never talked about the focus because you're not going to do it here. To find the focus or to find your foci, you are using a formula. It looks like something you guys have done similar to. So this is how we're going to find our foci. The foci is our C, right? So you're going to take the A squared minus your B squared, and that'll give you guys your C squared, and then you square root it. So just get a visual of that for a moment, okay? Now we're going to do some examples. We're going to just do some examples, and then we're going to write, and then you guys are done. So you have 6 examples, 3 of each type. All right. So let's take a look, because obviously you all know it makes more sense to you when you guys see an example. Okay, so I'm going to say identify key points and sketch. Now, for a ellipse, just so you guys are aware, we just went through this. Your key points are a center, a vertices, co-vertices, and your foci. All right, so first example. Maybe we're going to do 3 of each. So here we go. You have x squared over 16 plus y squared over 9 equals 1. Now, just so some of you guys understand, you clearly know this is an ellipse. Why? An ellipse are going to have x squared plus y squared equals 1, and you have numbers in the denominator. If you did not have numbers in the denominator, it would be a circle. You do need to understand the difference between the two and how to recognize it, just so you guys are aware. Okay, let's find all of our key points. Here we go. First thing we're gonna find is our center. Well, that's an easy one, right? 0, 0. Okay, then let's do vertice. Okay, so how do you know who's the vertice? The vertice is pretty much, oh my God, just drew a blank. Your vertice, think about it. You can go like this. Vertices are here, correct? You go like this, where your vertices are here. So if you kind of remember this, I'm gonna put a little star here. And here's what I would do also. Your A value is your vertice. And since I just discussed that, when you go like this, vertices, where are the vertices? If we remember in the notes I just gave you, your vertice is this one. That's a hint. The longer one, so if it's the longer one, it's the larger number. That's where I was getting with that the other time. So it is your larger number. So who's ever, and write this down, the coordinate is the coordinate, or you could say your axis, you'll see what I'm talking about, is where the larger number is under. Now, I know that's kind of wordy. Let me explain that. So, for example, here's what I would do if I were you guys first. Who's larger? 16. On your paper, right? This is the a squared and this is the b squared. I want that written down. So, let me highlight. Okay, so now what does that mean? Well, this is the a and this is your x. So watch how easy this is. First of all, you should know there are two of them, right? Since this is my large one, it's a squared equals 16, so what's A? A is 4. Great. Okay, and it's under the x, that's what coordinate I was talking about, so that means it's the x coordinate, so that's what this meant. The coordinate is where the larger number is under, so since it's under x, it's my x value. And if the distance is 4, and if you kind of have a visual here, maybe I'll do a quick little sketch for you all. So you should know larger number, it's going to look like that. That should be what it looks like, right? Because it's along the x-axis. So again, I would definitely recommend doing that. So if this is my center, the A is 4. So if it's 4 that way and 4 that way, you should know it's 4 is 0 and negative 4 is 0. Okay? Now B is 9. So, I'm sorry, B squared is 9. So that means what's B? B is 3. So up 3, down 3. So that's your co-vertice, because again, your co-vertice is your B. A vertice, let me break this down again. B co-vertice. So that means your co-vertice is then 0, 3, and 0, negative 3. And the last one is your focus. First thing, here's the thing I would recommend doing. Your focus always follows your vertice, right? So that means if the vertice is along the x, your focus is along the x. So put a 0 just to kind of get it out of the way. Unfortunately, to find your focus, you have to do the work I gave you. So to find your foci, you have to do c squared equals a squared minus b squared. So here we go, c squared equals, what's my a squared? 16. What's my b squared? 9. So c squared equals 7. So what does c? I want c. C is going to equal, plus or minus, obviously in this case, rad 7. So radical 7, negative radical 7, and there's your sketch. So again, it might have been a little wordy because I was kind of refreshing in my memory. Let me do another one to kind of clarify that, but hopefully that makes sense. Okay? No point of re-explaining it. Let's just do another one. Number 2, x squared over 36 plus y squared over 49 equals 1. Okay, one more time. You know it's an ellipse because x squared plus y squared equals 1. And you know that it's also that because you have denominators. So first thing, circle the larger number. Larger number, so that means this is my a squared, this is my b squared. Do that first. Now let's take a tiny little visual. I also want you to sketch. Larger number, ellipse is going that way. Hopefully you guys see the difference. Well, obviously it's along the y-axis because it's the larger number, while the one above was along the x because that's your larger number. Okay, so this will make it a little faster. So what's my center? Well, 0, 0. Now your vertices, they are along the y. So if they're along the y, then x is 0. Do that just to kind of eliminate your thinking. Okay, a squared is 49, so a is 7, and then negative 7. Okay, covertice. Covertice is the b, which we just distinguished as along the x. So put a 0 in for y. Get it done with. B squared 36, b is plus or minus 6. Okay, and then as I told you, you have to find your foci. So the foci, first what I would do is your focus has to match that. Remember, your focus and your vertices. So right away, put a 0, get it out of the way. Okay, so here we go for the foci. C squared equals a squared, 49, minus b squared, 36. C squared equals 13. So that means C is going to be our plus and minus 13. So radical 13, negative radical 13. They both look like negatives, yikes. Done. A little quicker because it's a little bit better explaining, probably. All right, let's take a look at one more example because you're going to see something like this. 25x squared plus 4y squared equals 100. Star. So just like we always do, I'm going to put another star here. Must be standard. What does standard form mean? Standard form means it must equal 1. So if the ellipse must equal 1, obviously, what do you have to divide by? If you want that to equal 1, then we have to divide everyone by 100. 100, 100. So then what do you have over here? We have x squared over 4 plus y squared over 25 equals 1. Done. Okay, let's go again. Here we go. Where is the larger number? Talk yourself through this. The larger number is here, so then circle it and write a squared b squared. Doing these things, you guys, you all know, it helps you with eliminate all the thinking at one time. So the larger number is along the y, so there you guys go. Okay, let's do it again. Center, 0, 0. Vertice, well, it's the y, so get that 0 for the x. A squared is 25, a is 5, negative 5. So obviously if I had to do something, maybe I would go like that. So the covertice is along the x, get those zeros in for your y's. B squared is 4, so that means b is 2's. And then your last are your foci. Your foci, again, are along, they match up with the vertice. So 0, 0, because we want it to be same. And we got to sit here and do the work. So c squared equals a squared, so 25 minus b squared of 4. C squared equals 21, so c plus or minus your 21. So rad 21 and negative rad 21. Hopefully that's going quicker. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. Sorry, we have to do one more thing. We're now going to write the equations. They're pretty much the opposite of what we just did. So please do that. I'm just going to review it. I know you're going to hate me because I'm taking this video longer. Circle the larger number. Circle the larger number. First, get this equal to 1. Circle the larger number. Then you write a squared, you write b squared. A squared, b squared, a squared, b squared. Wherever the larger number means along that axis. So that's why this one went along the x-axis. That's why this one went along the y-axis. And based on that, a is going to go in the x spot, A is going to go in the Y spot, and then you have to find your foci. This is why I think this unit is a little harder because of all this stuff that we have to do right now. I would say ellipse, and then the next one, unfortunately, are your harder ones. All right, last thing. I know the video is taking along. You guys are going to write your equation of an ellipse given. So the center, again, is going to be at the origin. So we'll just say the center is 0, 0, end. Okay, there's 3 scenarios. 3 scenarios. However, I'm doing one of each. So you guys can have 3 different, let me spell scenarios. Scenarios. Yeah. 3 different situations. Yep, that was terrible. Okay, so we're going to do one of each. Make sure you guys are watching, because I'm only doing one of each, and you're going to see them on your homework. I can give you guys your vertex, and I can give you guys your co-vertex. Now, why do I only need to give you one? Because it's at the center, which means the other one obviously is 0, -4. So here is our first scenario. I'm giving you the vertex and the co-vertex. Okay, so how do we write this? Well, why don't you right away start writing? Meaning, an ellipse, when your center's at the origin, is x squared plus y squared equals 1. Watch how easy this is. Now, our vertex, what letter is the vertex? Your A. Co-vertex is B. Well, where is the A? The A is in the Y spot. All right, well, done. Then that means please know that this is an A squared and this is your B squared. Just make sure you square it. So if it's 4, it came from 16. If it's -3, who cares? It came from 9. That's it. That's how simple it is. Now that maybe I can explain it a little bit better to you. Sometimes it takes me a minute to re-explain it, because I have to relearn it. Okay, so vertex, co-vertex. Done. Second scenario or situation. I can give you one more time your vertex, and I can give you your focus. Okay, so -8, 0 vertex. Your focus, hey, vertex, focus, they must be along the same. All right, so here you guys go again. Let's do this. You know you're writing an ellipse at the origin. Let's eliminate some of our thinking. Done, done, done. Now, let's do this. So again, second scenario, vertex, focus. We all know the vertex is the A. Your focus is a C. C's not an equation, but we'll work with it. So vertex, look where it is. It's the X. Okay, so right away, here is your A squared. You know this is your B squared. So we got a 64. So now to find me the B, well, we're going to use your focus formula. For the focus, we do C squared equals A squared minus B squared. So then all you're going to do is sub the values that you know. What is C squared? 16. What is A squared? 64. Okay, so when you guys subtract, we get -48 equals -B squared. So B squared equals 48 and stop. Why? Because the formula wants B squared. I don't want B. So then there you go, 48, and you're done. It's very helpful, you guys, to do the things I'm doing, A, C, A squared, B squared, because then you're just following a guide. Otherwise, honestly, this is why I think this unit is hard. There is so much, but perhaps if you break it down like I'm breaking it down, meaning I'm writing the letters, I'm doing this, you get consistent with it. Okay, so now your last scenario, I'm going to give you guys your co-vertex, and I'm giving you guys a focus. Obviously, they need to be an opposite because the focus is along the vertex. Let's do the same thing, co-vertex, B, C. All right, you're writing an ellipse, x squared plus y squared equals 1. Okay, so co-vertex is following here. So that means it's the x, so what's going to go here? A b squared, and here is the a squared, right? Because wherever the co-vertex or the vertex, they kind of are the leaders. This would be the x, this is your x. Just like up here. Vertex in this case was the y, co-vertex was under the x. All right, so what can we find first? Well, obviously we can find this, that's easy. Negative 25 says b, so b squared is 25. Now, again, same thing, how do you find the a? Well, you gotta use your focus formula. So c squared equals a squared minus your b squared. We got 36 equals, I don't know, minus 25. Add 25, you get 61 equals a squared. Stop. Substitute it right in, and there you go. And that's it. These are definitely harder, you guys, and I will tell you, these are where plenty of people make plenty of mistakes, so I hope that you guys watched your lesson. You might want to watch it one more time or watch the examples as you guys are doing them. Talk yourself through it. Write the letters. And as I'm doing it, I'm talking. B, co-vertex, it's along the x. So b squared goes here, which means this is a squared, and then write your formula. Talk yourself through these problems. Write yourself the notes. Okay, I'll stop my video because I know it's getting long. Bye.